and you are listening to Friday with the Fuzz here on WRMN AM 1410 in Elgin. Today we are joined by Deputy Chief of Police Bill Wolf. Bill, thank you for joining us today.
Well, thank you, and good Friday morning.
Yes,
it's great to be here.
Good Friday morning indeed.
Yeah.
So we've got quite the range of topics to talk about. Commander O'Shea has now announced that he is going to be Chief of Police for Rockford, so that's very exciting news.
Yes, absolutely.
We've got some traffic to look at.
Yep.
You just told me that we've got an update, and then also we're going to talk about Citizens Police Academy, as well as there's some lawsuits against some gang activity that's been going on. So let's jump right into it. Let's talk about Commander O'Shea.
Yeah, and you know what? Actually, if you want to get into the traffic thing real first too, there's just an alert we just got that. The state police, even though I-90 runs directly, through Elgin, the jurisdiction for, the tollways generally falls with state police, and they handle the accidents. And we're out there actually assisting them right now on a very serious accident that's on I-90 eastbound between Route 25 and Route 31. And so the majority of that is completely shut down right now. Our officers are actually blocking, the ramp there to prevent people from going eastbound and any longer on there. But again, very serious accident. If there's people out there, please avoid that area.
All right. Yeah. So that's got 90 completely closed.
Yeah,
so,
and eastbound.
Eastbound.
Right now. Yep.
Eastbound. Yeah. So yeah, if you're traveling on 90 eastbound, that's a no go.
Yes.
Through the area here. So
yeah.
Thank you for keeping us all posted on that.
And then I guess back to the exciting news of the week is another one of our members of our command staff is taking a job as a police chief in another agency. Dan O'Shea has been a commander for about the last 3 years with our police department. He was promoted commander in 2013 and has been with the police department since 1999. And prior to that, he was actually a police officer in Addison. And he was in a variety of different assignments in Addison, including doing undercover drug work and that kind of thing. But Dan's been a great asset for the police department. Matter of fact, Dan and I were detectives together for many years, and so I've known Dan very well over the years. And we are very sad to see Dan go, but very excited for him at the same time. I mean, it's an incredible opportunity for Dan. Rockford is the second, next to Chicago, it's the second largest police department in the state of Illinois, and very large city. They've got some pretty significant crime issues that Dan's going to have to tackle, and we know he's up for the challenge, and just like he's been able to address things here in Elgin. And I had the opportunity to talk to Dan a little bit last night about it, and and he's very excited about trying to bring some of the things that we do in Elgin to Rockford, and he had indicated that one of the reasons that he believes that he was selected is because of all the good things that have happened here in Elgin, and he was able to talk about all the great things that we've done, and a few of the highlights I think, and I think it's something that I know Chief Swoboda has talked about over the years, and we stress that there's it's something we're proud of, is that there's a lot of the things that we do, individually, there's other departments that you could find, throughout the country that do them. We do a lot of stuff with technology, and we really embrace it, and we use it, leverage technology to make us a more efficient police department. But I think it'd be hard to find a police department that embraces and uses technology across the board to the degree that we do. And then the other side that I think that it's kind of the complete premise of our police department is our community policing philosophy. And I know Dan said that was one of the biggest things that came out in his interview is how much we embrace the community here in Elgin, and how much that was a big part of him being able to show all the things that we're doing. And again, it's there's sometimes that we've had other police departments come in and look at some of the things we're doing, and oftentimes people want to focus on individual programs, like our resident officer program, a great community, oriented program that we've had for years. But it's, I think truly our philosophy and our community outreach stuff, it's not about those individual programs. It's not just about the road program. It's not about our community relations or our, senior citizen, outreach or those things. It's the complete philosophy of the police department. And I think that's the big thing that we've been driving home for years. It started years and years ago with Chief Gruber, and it's continued over the years, and Chief Swoboda has taken it to the next level, and we've truly embraced it as a department-wide philosophy. And so it's not just individual programs. It's something that's an expectation of every single officer, you know, whether you're a patrol officer, whether you're a detective, whether you're a supervisor at administration, everybody is responsible for getting out there, interacting with the community, finding out what the needs are of the community, working on problems collectively with the community, and I think that's truly what sets our police department apart from many others.
So again, congratulations to Dan O'Shea on becoming chief of police in Rockford. So that's a huge step forward for him. So,
Absolutely.
So we wish him the best. And with Commander O'Shea's departure, that's going to mean that there's going to be an open commander position. You don't have to name names, but is there anyone that you have in mind that you feel would be a good candidate? And what do you look for in someone to be that would qualify them as a good commander?
You know, we generally, when it comes to the promotional process, we have you know, an entire process that we go through. And the last time when actually Commander O'Shea got the spot, he you know, there was an interview process that we did. There's been times that, you know, I can tell you when you know, I went through the deputy chief selection process. It was you know, very involved. You know, there was you know, panel interview with community members. There was a panel interview with various city department members. There was an interview with the city manager. There was an interview with a panel of chiefs from other departments, and then we had just the interview with the chief himself. And so, you know, in terms of to what extent we're going to do that with the commander spot, you know, it's something that, you know, Chief Swoboda ultimately, you know, will make that decision, and we'll decide exactly how that process is going to go. You know, it's something, it could be, you know, could be a process that we're able to get done and figure out in you know, in a week or two, or it could take a couple months. Sometimes it just depends on, you know, how involved things are. But it's never an easy decision, and we have, you know, so many good qualified people, and it's one of the things that, you know, we really take pride in at the police department is you know, grooming new people to take new leadership roles. And so we've got a lot of people. You know, we stress education. We have a lot of people that have gone you know, gone out and gotten master's degrees and things like that on their own time, you know, in addition to training that has been provided, you know, to them through the police department itself. And so, you know, it's going to be a tough decision. We've got a lot of great candidates, and you know, looking forward to that whole process.
Definitely. And you brought up the point of education, and going forward on that point, let's talk a little bit about the Citizens Police Academy.
Yeah.
And that's an 8-week course that you guys offer. And tell us a little bit about the program and what people can come to expect from it.
So the Citizen Police Academy is something that we've been doing for you know, many years now, and it's a great, you know, every time that you know, people go through it, we get really good feedback, and people, you know, will routinely tell us, man, we really didn't realize all the things that are involved in your job, and sometimes, you know, people say, man, we didn't realize how hard your job was at times, and all the things that have to be considered and everything. And so that's really why we do it, is to try to educate people on what police work is really like. It's not, you know, it's not what you see on TV, and we would love it if things were like you know, CSI, and we could solve a case in an hour every time, you know, every time. And
wouldn't that be nice?
Yes, and you know, we could push a button and we get the person's complete DNA profile in 30 seconds. Get home in time for
dinner each night.
Yes, exactly. It was, but you know, unfortunately, that's not how things work in the real world, and so that's kind of where the educational component comes in, and it's a great way for you know, the citizens also to really get to know our officers, you know, a little bit more closely. And so in the last year, we started another facet of that called the Spanish Citizen Police Academy, and that group is going to be graduating this Saturday. And so you know, I'll be there to pass out their certificates, and you know, just really happy, you know, to have another class. You know, another facet that we started in the last few years is also a senior citizens police academy, and so just reaching out to different segments of our community, get them involved in the police department. That's
fantastic that you've got it separate programs, but they all serve the same purpose to serve all of the varying people in the Elgin community. So that's fantastic news.
Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely. And actually, one of the other things that's come out of that over the years is our Citizen Police Academy Alumni Association.
Mm-hmm.
So these are people that have gone through the Citizen Police Academy and want to stay involved, with the police department, and they do just great things for our police department. Like they'll during the summer they'll have a summer barbecue where they'll cook food for our officers. They'll on Thanksgiving they come in and make Thanksgiving dinner for officers. Working late shifts and midnight shift that can't be home with their families, and they've come in on Christmas. Other times during the year they just do really nice things for our officer and show their appreciation for the hard work that the officers do, and it's a great, and we are so happy to have them, and so they also do fundraisers to fund the different things that they do for officers. And one of the things that they're doing right now is they're selling yard lights that say support Elgin Police Department, and so they're going to be selling some more of those on more of an official sale in the lobby of the police department on Wednesday, March 30th. And so people can check our website for the various times that they're going to be out there through the days. But the lights are $15, and all the money goes to the Citizens Police Academy Alumni Association. And if anybody wants to stop by and buy the lights, we'd encourage it.
Excellent. And with continuing with the Citizens Police Academy, I know that you have to be at least 18 years of age to participate in the program.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever had it where young individuals who go through the program then decide to potentially pursue law enforcement, and then have any of them, to your knowledge, have any of them become officers, whether they're at the Elgin Police Department or any other area police departments?
I know we definitely had people go through the Citizen Police Academy that have been interested or became interested in becoming law enforcement officers. In terms of has any of them actually become Elgin officers? I don't recall for sure. I don't know any off the top of my head, but I definitely know we've had, and in terms of, particularly in terms of youth, and I think it's something that's been discussed on this show before, is that we have our Explorer program. And that for youth that are interested in being getting into law enforcement, that's really the program that we encourage people to get involved in. And it's kids can get in that program as young as 12 years of age, and we've had people staying in the program all the way up to 20, 21 years of age, and they at that point they kind of become advisors in the program generally. But that's something where over the years we've had several officers that have gone on to become Elgin police officers, and unfortunately police officers in other jurisdictions as well. And one of the things that we found over the years is that we have a bachelor's degree requirement to become a police officer in Elgin, and that is something that to a certain extent has become a little bit of a barrier at times for people to get the job. On the other hand of it, we like the fact that we kind of up the bar in terms of requirements for police officers. So one of the things we did last year is just did some slight modifications to our rules with the Police and Fire Commission. So one of the exceptions to that bachelor's degree is that if you've been an Explorer for a set number of years, then all you need is an associate's degree or 60 hours of college credit to become a police officer, and we take into consideration the amount of time that they've been in the Explorer program. Same thing if you've been a police officer or been in the military, then that bachelor's degree is waived for 60 hours of college credit. So just some slight things we did there. But I guess your original question, the Explorer program is something where we really encourage youth to get involved, and it's really something that we've taken a new focus on in terms of our community outreach, is trying to do more focus on youth, and so I think the chief in the past is. And I know Commander Lally, who's kind of spearheaded has talked about Coffee with a Cop, and something that we get generally get pretty good turnout when we have those events, and we have one coming up at Elgin Community College in April. Matter of fact, I think it's our next Coffee with a Cop, and again the key there was we thought, okay, we're going to start, we're going to do one with some college age kids, and in fact, I was just at an event at ECC, and it was announced at the event, and afterwards I had a number of kids come up to me and said, hey, when is that again, and where are you going to have it? And so there seemed to be a pretty good interest, and so we're excited about that. It's going to be our first Coffee with a Cop with that is going to kind of target college age students as our audience, and we're excited about that and looking forward to getting hopefully some youthful involvement, some youthful questions about the police and what we do, and then from there we've approached the idea of maybe doing something with U46 and seeing if we could do something along the lines of Coffee with a Cop with maybe some high school students or something along those lines.
Absolutely. And that's great to hear that Elgin PD has kind of upped the ante as far as what the requirements are to become an officer. And what's great is that, depending on if they've been a part of the Explorer program, that some of those requirements are waived, but, it's justified.
Yep.
Why they're waived. And I think that speaks volumes that, you're going to be doing this Coffee with the Cop event at ECC. And I think that says a lot for not only ECC, but the other area community colleges, that you can very, very easily, well, I shouldn't say easily, but you can very much go there and earn your associate's degree. And if you're a part of the Explorer program, and if you're here going to school at ECC or Judson U or any of the other area community colleges. I went to Harper for 2 years straight out of high school because I'm out of the Palatine area.
Sure.
And it was a great education. I know community colleges tend to get dismissed a lot of the time, but they offer some of the most stellar education. And the fact that the Elgin PD recognizes that, and they see the value in those community learning programs and being able to go and talk to those students, that's huge. That's absolutely huge. And to want to also reach out to even a younger youth audience in the U46 programs, that's another great thing that you guys are doing. So hats off to you.
Well, thanks. And it's and again, it's one of those things where we've got so many good people that are always coming up with ideas, and so those are some of the ideas that have been floated lately in terms of getting out there and getting more involved in the youth. And it's also some of the feedback when we've been to a number of the community forums over the last year is that people keep stressing is that youth is really who you need to start doing more outreach with, and so that's something we're really looking forward to like you said, stepping up our game and upping the ante. And with that, one thing I guess I wanted to get a plug in real quick too, just to put out there, is that we're also when we're talking about hiring in the Explorer program, is that we're actually going to be hiring for police officers again starting this summer, and so probably every chance we get when we come on here, probably myself or Chief Sabota or whatever, we're probably going to keep plugging this because we want as many good officers, particularly from the Elgin area, to take our test as possible. And so we're going to be starting the testing process in June this year. It'll run from June through August, and we want to get as many people as possible to take the test. We'll be offering all the different aspects of the test right here in Elgin. We're going to be having a written test here. We'll be offering the physical agility test here, and so we're excited about hopefully getting a lot of homegrown Elgin area candidates to be police officers here in their hometown.
Wonderful, wonderful. Now, to kind of switch gears a little bit, there was something that you and I discussed before the show. There's been a lawsuit that's been put against these some gangs in the Elgin area, and
yes.
Just pretty recently here.
Yes. So this is something that this most recent lawsuit is brand new, but the idea of suing gang members is something that we started. At least, I want to say it's about 6 or 7 years ago. It's been a number of years. And I'd like to say we came up with the idea, but I'll just tell you exactly, we stole it from West Chicago Police Department. They had a serious problem with one particular gang, and they sued that gang civilly, and it worked out very well from them. It was a major stride for them to reduce the ability for that gang to do the bad things that they were doing. And so we took the idea, got with the Kane County State's Attorney's Office at that time, and they were willing to work on it with us, and we sued the Latin King street gang. That was a very successful endeavor. After that, we sued the Maniac Latin Disciple street gang, and then the one that was just announced this week is we're now suing the Spanish Vice Lord gang. And basically, how this works is that one of the laws that our officers use quite a bit to address gang issues is that there's a unlawful contact with a street gang state law, and basically it prevents gang members from associating with each other in public, under certain criteria. And so one of those criteria is that if you have two gang members, for example, that are on probation for something involving a street gang activity, and we see them walking a street corner together, we can stop them and arrest them from all unlawful contact with street gang member if it was written into the order for their probation or their parole, that type of thing, some type of court order. However, once those gang members are off of probation or off of parole, or there's no other type of civil injunction against them, they can go out and be on the street corner doing whatever, and we can't do anything about it. And so what this does is that it outlines all of the criminal activity that the gang themselves, the gang as a whole, has been involved in, and then details the individual gang members, all the different things that they've been involved in over the years. And then so we name the gang, we name the individual members, and we basically get an injunction that then prevents them from associating with each other in a public place, or for that matter, driving together in a car. And so we enforce those no contact orders against those gang members once the lawsuit is successful. Now, like anything, it's a process. Yeah, everybody has due process and can fight this, and we have had people that at the start of the process, they had a long history, and they've come forward and been able to prove that they completely got themselves out of the gang, and in some of those cases, have been dismissed, and rightfully so. But the vast majority of the people, have been, proven to show that they're still involved in the gang, and gang life, gang activity, and those no contact orders are put in place, and we enforce them. And it's been, one of many successful strategies. And I think Chief Swoboda has indicated before, where we saw an uptick in shootings towards the end of the last year. We saw a continued uptick in shootings this year, and so we're stepping up our efforts and addressing it in every way we possibly can, and to the hopeful end of putting a stop to the activity.
And I can say from just kind of an outside perspective, because I'm fairly new to the Elgin area. Prior to working here at the radio station, I had heard people, just in my own hometown and everything, like, oh, Elgin, aren't they a little bit, a little bit sketchy on the whole gang activity thing. But the thing is, having no prior opinion of Elgin, because I had never really been in town before prior to working here, I would have to say that I am thrilled to see just how well controlled the gang activity is here, because I've seen zero of it.
Yeah.
I've seen absolutely none of it, and that's really because I'm only 2 blocks away from the police department.
Sure.
Here. That might have something to do with it.
And, I mean, you're exactly right. I've lived in or around Elgin my entire life. I'm proud of my city. Christy's over there smiling because she always points out that she's lived in Elgin her entire life, and a lot longer than I have. And but anyway, I'm proud of my city. And there was times in the late '80s and '90s where there was some really significant crime problems here in Elgin. And one thing I think I'm proud of about our city is they never really shied away from the fact that they had the issue or tried to cover it up, or it's always been a very transparent thing. And that's why I think that we were able to get ahead of it. And although we've seen an uptick, recently, I think the reason why it's come to the forefront is because we're so much more, transparent than we've ever been before in terms of putting things out in social media and our crime stats and everything else. And it's so apparent in terms of, when things happen in Elgin. And I think our tolerance for that type of activity in Elgin, has changed significantly. Whereas, when shootings occurred in the, back in the 80s and things like that, it wasn't something that was even, would be alarming on the radar necessary. And now it's become, so much more of a rarity that when we do see an uptick like that, it there's really more of a call to action, and it's good because it makes it easier for us to get people involved and work together collectively to solve the problems.
Absolutely.
But and the other thing we'd like to remind people too is that although we've seen this uptick, Elgin, crime across the board, as a whole, we saw, in 2015 as a whole, we had a 1% drop in Part 1 crimes, which are their more serious crime. Now, again, that doesn't discount the fact that, we did have an uptick in shootings. We're going to address it. And if you're somebody that's involved in those shootings, it's not comforting that crime in general was down. But it's important, to point out that there is definitely a continued progress of decreased crime, in Elgin, and we're hoping that it continues.
Absolutely, and we're just about ready to run out of time here, I think. So I want to thank Deputy Chief Wolf for standing in for Chief Swoboda today on Friday with the Fuzz. So thank you so very much for joining us and for talking about all sorts of different things from Commander O'Shea, his departure to the Rockford Police Department as Chief of Police there. And also, thank you for the update on 25 and 31 on 90 eastbound.
Mm-hmm.
And just for anyone who's tuning in just now, 90 eastbound is closed between 25 and 31. There's a very serious accident, and Elgin Police is working together with the state police
Correct.
on taking care of that, and hopefully everyone involved is in good health. So thank you for that, and then also for telling us about the Citizens Police Academy and all the different great programs that the Elgin PD is providing to the community. So it's been a pleasure, and I've had a great time getting to talk with you here on the air, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.
Absolutely, and Chief Swoboda should be back next week, and at some point maybe I'll be his guest next week or one of the weeks coming up here.
We'll plan on it, definitely.
So, all right.
So thank you, Deputy Chief Wolf, and you've been listening to Friday with the Fuzz on WRMN AM 1410. Stay tuned next for Steve Thorin with Silver Solutions here on WRMN AM 1410 in Elgin.